Hello, and welcome to the 7th episode of Career Conversations with Felecia H with my special guest, the beautiful, the intelligent Wendolyn Payne. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I wasn't ready for the beautiful. I like intelligent. That's good. That's really good. I'll take beautiful too, but that intelligent, I appreciate that. I do.
So listen, let me all tell you, I don't know, I have no idea what this conversation is about to be like, but I can tell you that Wendolyn and I connected in person for the very first time last week in Charlotte, North Carolina at the TD Jakes International Leadership Conference. So we were both, and we met in the airport. So the fact that we were both there means that we are really sisters and we don't even know it.
I'm just saying.
We are really sisters. We are really business partners. We don't know how yet.
But it's coming together.
It's coming together. We are master builders and we didn't even know that we were master builders. So welcome, Wendolyn. Welcome.
Thank you. Felecia, thank you so very much. I'm just truly honored, but also excited because it's from even the airport with your mask on. I knew you. I was just like, Felecia. And it's true. This is the first time we've seen each other in person. We're still trying to figure out how we even connected. And like I said earlier, pre-pandemic. You and I have been connected on Facebook and IG pre-pandemic. It's something.
Yeah. So the fact that we were meeting in a city where we were both about to be fed and expanded and pushed, that was special. From the same hometown. I mean, that was special. So listen, we're going to dive right into it. I have 7 questions for you, and we may venture off a little bit, but for the most part, I have 7 questions, and I have 7 questions for all of my guests. But the beautiful thing about it is I'm going to get a different story. So for everyone that's watching now, and for everyone that's going to play this back, you probably need to get a pencil and some paper because it's about to be fire up in here. That's
right. Pump me up. Listen, Felecia, you got this right. Encourage me. I don't know what's about to happen, but it's about to be fire. Okay.
Here. So tell me about you. Tell me your story, where you're from, of course, where you live now, schools, family. Tell us.
Okay. I am a true native Memphian.
Okay.
I like traveling, but wherever I go, I'll tell people very proudly, I was born and raised here in Memphis, Tennessee. I am a Memphian through and through. I was born in Orange Mound on Carnes, and then we moved on into North Memphis, and I reside in Coral Lake, but I graduated from Westwood High School. So in my business world, I've been known to tell people, don't let the suit fool you. I got 3 hoods in me. Just saying. Nothing, and I'm trying to work on that.
I love it. 3 hoods.
I got 3 neighborhoods in me. And I wear it as a badge of honor because every area of the city that I've lived in, it puts something in me. Mm-hmm. And when I need it, it comes up.
Right.
Then I'm gonna leave it there. So anyway, but graduated from Westwood High School, later graduated from Southwest Community College, which that's a whole nother story. But I love this city. I'm still a Longhorn. I love my high school, and career-wise, it's really different. So in high school, I will always say couple of things that really shifted and changed the direction of my life. I grew up in the church that I'm in now. It played a huge part of what you see now, because in my church they instituted with us as far as great morals, the biblical principles, but also we had career-minded people that brought forth their knowledge and shared with us. So when I went into the workforce, I was really equipped with so much more than people in my age group. And so what I would say is in high school, the changing point for me was my mother asked me one summer, I think I was going into the 9th grade, she asked me, what did I want to do? And I don't even remember what lofty story I told her, because I was really grasping at straws.
Right.
And they had a program that they were starting. It's a vocational school off of Levi, Horn Lake and Levi, where they were testing it out, where you can learn 3 skills: office technology, printing press, and data processing. I must say that was the greatest thing. My mother told me, just give it a try.
Wow.
I learned so much in that one school year, that it just really shifted my mind. And then the other piece that also was very important for me was Mayor Willie Harrington had a summer youth development program, the City of Memphis Summer Youth Development Program. And that's where I got a chance. A gentleman at my church, Mr. Clarence Coleman, he would get some of the young people together at church and get us those jobs, get us to apply and things like that. And the program took us through this orientation piece of it for a week before we even stepped in the doors. And my assignment was Federal Express.
Wow.
I worked in their compensation department. But let me just say this. That was my first experience and exposure to seeing Black women leading.
Wow.
Black women in suits.
Right.
Black women leading the boardroom and everybody else listening to them. I didn't know really what they were doing, but I remember after that summer, I didn't want to wear tennis shoes anymore. I wanted some pantyhose. I wanted a suit. I was like, I don't really know what they doing, but I want it. I don't know what.
Right. Right.
But I want it.
Right.
And those were just really key things for me. And then in high school, when they had the career fairs, someone had the wisdom to bring a staffing agency in. And why that was so important for me is because it wasn't like I was some stellar student. Not, but in high school, my mindset was, I'm not going into a company to retire. I've never desired that.
Yeah.
So they brought in the staffing agency and they said, when you come out of high school, you don't really have work experience, but you're going to need some money, right? So why not look into that? And what I will say is those 3 things that happened in my life have contributed to where I am now, because when I got out of high school, I was able to work in staffing agencies, get experience with so many different companies. So when I landed in a particular permanent role, I was really more set up for it. And then it gave me a chance to test out places to see if I really wanted to join them permanently.
That's major. That's key. I've never thought about that.
Felecia, I'm big. Listen, I have been saying this before pre-pandemic.
Right.
When you are the employee, you are evaluating that company just like that company is evaluating you, okay? Especially when you are confident in what you bring to the table. You don't have to know it all, but you do need to be confident in what it is you know, what you bring to the table. So I saw it as, you're testing me out, but I'm testing you out. Because it could be a great job, the pay could be good, but maybe the environment, the culture just isn't for me. And these were some pretty big name companies that I got a chance to go in. It didn't matter. I was a secretary for a day or I was an office clerk. Listen, but I got exposure to it. And that was key. And I still take that approach now to whatever company I connect with.
Let me just say, I knew it was going to be fire. Oh my God. I knew it. I felt it in my bones. I knew it. I'm serious. I knew it. Like, I have chills right now because 2 words that I just wrote down. I wrote down exposure. You were exposed in high school. All it takes sometimes is to be in the region, be in the room. You can't be, I think we heard this last week, you can't be what you don't see.
We said that, we heard that throughout it. And even, let me tell you how, and I'm a woman of faith. So I'm going to tell you how God never just lets one thing happen. He's confirming the whole time. Weeks before we even made it there, one of the ministers at our church said, you got to see beyond what you can see too. And I was just, so we sitting up in the conference and I'm in the summit. I'm like, golly, now listen, what? Okay. But let me go back to that exposure. I'm so grateful for one, the former mayor, Willie Harrington, because the school system could only do so much. And so he had that knowledge and that vision to let's bring the business community together with the school system, because my mindset shifted even more after seeing what could be. These Black women were leading. And how God's plan is, I didn't even know compensation was part of HR. And HR is my field, but he had the plan, but I needed someone to expose me to it.
Yes.
Oh, I could just tell you about these people. I mean, that was such great exposure in my character and how I put out the work that represents me. I'll never forget the lady that was my manager. Her name is Charlie Sims. She's retired from there, but I'll never forget her because she gave me an assignment to put together these binders and things like that. I'm young. After a few copies, I was like, this is for the birds. Seriously. And so hole punched it. She just did hole punch, put binders together. She didn't rag me. She didn't slam me, but she took me aside and she said, okay, let's look at what you just presented me. And when she caused me to pay attention to what I just presented her, she's like, does this represent you? She said, remember now, you're being watched. And remember, because of the scan that you are in, you're being watched even closer. She said, so you tell me, does this represent the quality that is you? I was just like, I'm like ninth grade. I was like, that's a whole lot. It was a hole punch.
But that's so good.
Took me from their own people that have worked with me in volunteer capacity will tell you, I'm just real particular about presentation now.
Presentation is everything.
Everything.
What you put out and how you show up.
And I took that back to school with me. So now that I've been exposed to seeing what's really out there, what is possible for me as a young Black woman, then when I came back to high school, it was just a different mindset. I'm not saying I became some super angel, but my mindset had changed because I had been exposed to something else. And it changed and it went, I'm still with it today. I just, I got a couple pair of tennis shoes, not many.
I love it. So I initially titled this podcast, like before the conversation, The Art of Personal Development, Professional Development. I don't even know, but I have to change it. It has to be exposure. Exposure is everything. Oh my God, you have blown my mind. So go ahead.
But even with the personal development exposure, you have to also recognize when you've reached a point where you need to push yourself to be developed, because if you're waiting on someone else to bring it to you, it's not gonna happen. And when I say that for all ages, all ages, I don't care if there's so many different resources, but it's when you're in a room, there you have extroverts, you have introverts, and I don't even remember what the in-between is. But when you know or have an inkling of what you're trying to go after, then what do I need to get to? Who do I need to talk to? And sometimes that means you've got to come out of yourself and expose yourself to an environment that you normally wouldn't put yourself in. But keeping in mind that make sure the environment is truly going to be conducive to where you're trying to go. So for me, I started trying to, when I would go, well, here's my thing. I would go into a company, whether I was a contractor, temp, or whatever. My goal was to learn everybody's name in the building. I just wanted them to at least know my name. Because I never know, and I wanted them to have an experience with me. So I never knew whatever room they're going to be in. I just got to be having this conversation with somebody. This is exposure as well in my personal development. When they experience me, whatever room they're in, if someone speaks something that's contrary to that person's experience with me, then they're going to be like, well, that wasn't my experience with Wendolyn. That's a part of my development, because I'm coming out of my normal, this is the group that I hang with, this is the calendar. And I'm not saying I'm buddy with everyone, I go to lunch with everyone, but a simple thing of I walk down the hall, hi, how are you? And I actually wait to see if they respond.
Right. So there's two things within what you just said. It is important to know a bunch of people. It is important to know everyone's name, but it's even more important for those people to know you. So yeah, you can go in and you can network and you can know a bunch of people and you can name drop, but who's bringing your name up in those rooms that you can't even get into? Who's doing that? And that's the key.
That is a key.
And then when you talk about someone experiencing you, having their own experience, I've always talked to people about, don't go into a new environment and take someone else's word on the manager, what the manager is like, because their experience may not be your experience. Go in and create your own experience.
That's it.
Because if you're going off of somebody else's word, then you are blocking. You're blocking your blessing. You're blocking your movement. You're blocking your relationship that could have been everything that you needed.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I have a tambourine right now, but this is good. Listen, it's good. It's good. And you just don't ever know. For me, you don't ever know what that experience is going to be for somebody else with you, right? And I will be honest with you. I don't necessarily align with knowing a lot of people.
Right.
I align with, I know people that have experienced me. Because for me, that's important. Passing by, speaking to you, my goal is that your experience with me is one of pleasant.
Right.
It's one of not a burden.
Right.
When people experience me, they don't dread experiencing me, right?
Right.
And knowing a lot of people doesn't mean that my experience has been one of pleasant, one that is not filled with dread. And so, and some people, it's just their individual choice that they choose not to like you. That's fine. But for the overall overarching, I want to be able to, when people encounter me, it's an experience that they walk away with, right? And it translated to my personal development. Throughout my career, what I found is that being open to, if I'm ever placed in a room or I get into a room that I know nothing about the subject matter, my personal development starts at being quiet and listening. I'm a sponge. I tell anyone, I am a sponge. I'm sponging. You'll hear me say that a lot. When I'm straight sponging. Even though I may have experience in the area, my first go-to is I'm going to go into the room and I'm going to sponge. I've got into a practice to allow everyone else to speak their viewpoint, because I need to understand the thought process of individuals before I make mine. Because I learned from error. Let me tell you.
Oh my God.
Young and dumb, child.
Young and dumb.
So dumb in the sense of, I remember this time. The thing, I'm telling you, this is why I'm so grateful for my ministry, because they taught us how to conduct ourselves in the workplace. It wasn't just all spiritual, but they taught us some real basic things. These people in the workplace even taught when you go on an interview, right? It's okay for you to ask, so where would my office be located? Where's the area that I'll be working in? You're doing it like they offered you the job. Well, I need to know if it's going to fit me, right?
Right.
The other part is, as far as, because I have a recruiting background, HR generalist, HR business partner, those type of things. But what I appreciate is that learning, because anyone can get the job.
Right.
But how do you conduct yourself once you're in there? Can we talk about the behaviors once you get in here?
Can we please talk about the behavior? Please.
How you conduct yourself. So I remember being in this group, And young and dumb, people were complaining about their pay. And my special self said, yeah, because I'm only making $8 an hour. Stupid. I had to learn later on, you don't discuss your pay. First, before you get into this whole fussing session of this circle of people, you only been here maybe a month, and they complaining, you just jumping in, right? Sure enough, they got the meeting together, and my young and dumb self, the first one to speak up, it's like, yeah, because we should be making more. I make it only $8 an hour, not knowing I was making more than some of these other. Stupid, just dumb. Just dumb. Dumb. And what it showed, that I appreciate that leader though. The leader had a conversation with me later. She's like, you're still early in the role. And let me just share some things with you just that'll help you. Because I soon saw the tables turn in the behavior of my coworkers. So I was just like, oh, that kind of stuff. Or when you get into another position as you progress forward, just being aware of, yes, you've done something or someone recognized something within you that moved you up to another station, another place. At the same time, remembering that it was some of that other information and skill sets that you got from the previous. So it's not that you're above, you are growing into another area of your talent and your skill, but it doesn't take away from where you came from. Because some people's mindsets, they want to stay where you left. That's fine. Don't knock them for it. That's where they want to be. You can progress forward without minimizing and belittling because they choose not to go forward. It was just, all of that was the growth piece of it, the personal development, to being able to take the feedback, not all on it, and understand what really needs to stick to me. And then some of it that has nothing to do with me, that some person's insecurities, to shake that off. It was all of that. So
what exactly do you do now?
So I am what we call a community relations partner. So although I'm still in the field of HR, I've recently transitioned from a senior HR business partner, where I worked with our different client groups within the organization on their areas of the business, where it was expanding their labor force or understanding how we're going to beef up the talent as far as skill set and organizational development. So now I'm shifting into a hybrid role where it is dealing with community relations. So what our company is that we realize that a lot of people don't know who we are. Now, we've been around for 50 years. So TK Elevator is actually ThyssenKrupp Elevator, which was Dover Elevator.
So the certificates inside the elevators.
And what a lot of people don't understand, when I go on different recruiting and brand awareness events, this is how I have to explain it. Depending on the generation, I'll tell them, we are TK Elevator. Your mom and dad may know us as ThyssenKrupp. Your grandparents probably know us as Dover Elevator. We're all still the same company. We're just under a different name. But part of the brand awareness piece of it is helping the Memphis community and the surrounding area of Mississippi and Arkansas understand who we are, because the elevator industry is such a large, massive, expansive area of the business that we really haven't tapped into, right? And it's been around for 50 plus years. So my goal is to find ways for our organization to partner with community organizations, do a lot with college relations, to not only build a talent pipeline, but also see how we as a corporate body can be more involved in the community by which that we're actually located in. And so that's part of it. And I'm really excited about it. I really am enjoying the fact that I get a chance to be the face. I like that.
That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. I didn't even know that. Remember, I asked, I was like, do you live out of town? You don't live in Memphis? And you're like, no, I live in Memphis. I was like, well, I guess I've just seen you be elevated so many times, at work. So that's so awesome.
That's God in itself. I want you to know that is God in itself. Seriously. Wow. I had no idea this was going to happen. Yeah. Our EVP is the one that said, here's what I want to have happen in this organization, and here's the person that's going to do it. Wow. I'm sitting in a meeting, I was like, And let me say this, I have to give this part of the part of my journey. Mm-hmm. And so graduated from high school. Okay. Let's go backwards to, at one point I struggled to read. And my mother, I'm so grateful for her.
Love your mother. I love your mother. I met her mother last week. You brought her to the conference with you. And she was like one of the girls. I love your mom. I love her.
It's so awesome. And I'm so grateful for her as a parent, because she recognized where something was not right. So in my younger years, I struggled to read. I found out later I'm an audible visual learner. Mm-hmm. So I would just kind of pick words. I would just kind of pick them. So I struggled to read, right? Mm-hmm. And I will tell anybody, most people know me now, I like audiobooks. I love being read to. You can't go wrong with giving me an audiobook. Right. But she didn't go into a denial. She actually prayed and began to just speak that the word over me, and God blessed me to, because people say, you speak wonderfully. A lot of people ask me, have I ever been out of town, or am I originally from Memphis? I was like, yes, I sound like a Memphian, don't they? Then they give that whole spiel. I was like, I sound like a Memphian. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Get that anyway. Also. Oh, I get that.
You get that too? I'm like, no, but I said all that, bringing it up to this point, is that single mother, went to high school, graduated from high school, went to school, Southwest, right? My mom was a single parent. It got to a point where she needed my brother and I to actually work to bring more money in the home. Mm-hmm. And so I had to step away from school for a while.
Really?
So we had to go to work, okay? Young adults, but we had to work to help in the household. I literally would take a 4-hour bus ride back and forth to school to get to Southwest. From where I live, I spent 4 hours out of the day on the bus.
Wow.
Not to just mention class, but then I tell people my 2-year degree, I got my degree from Southwest Community College in 2006. That took me 10 years to get that 2-year degree. Wow. But the work experience, show you how God works, going through the different staffing agencies and things like that. When you looked at my resume and you saw my experience,
right?
It was like, I told one person, I used to work for this company as a district HR. I remember sitting in the interview telling the person, I was like, if you give me a chance, I'll show you what I could do.
Wow. Yeah.
But that was the part of the degree is great. The promotions that have happened, it's all been God, but it's been orchestrated by Him, right? Right. Taking advantage of every time He brought me into a situation where I could have the exposure to get the experience that I needed, never being afraid to ask a question. Right. Hey, how you do this? Right. Hey, what do you do there?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know how to do this. Or, hey, can I sit in?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that did it. And so now I tell people boldly, it's like, yes, I graduated from Southwest. I have an associate's degree, not ashamed of it.
Right. Right.
Because I'm not knocking education at all.
Right.
I'm a very strong proponent of it. I mean, I'm all for it. I just have to tell you my story. I tell you what God did for me and the journey He took me on. And it's not to say that I'll never go to additional learning, but I take advantage of every exposure that I get to gain the knowledge. So I look at when we went to the International Leadership Summit, those master classes that we went through, they were the serious business.
They were. That was one thing I came back telling everyone. I was like, Bishop is not playing about. He is not playing about upgrading your life, changing your day-to-day habits, starting your business, owning instead of just buying, but owning stock. He talked about that a lot. He is not playing.
Did you get a chance to sit in on John Hope Bryant's session?
Oh, yes.
I had heard him before. But I told my mama, I said, listen, this man came out with both guns barreling.
Right.
He was like, can we make smart, sexy again. He's like, because this stuff right here is stupid. And what Bishop told us on that last day was, we need to come away with 3 things that we're going to work on. Right? Have you been working on your 3 things?
I have. And you're part
I'm on number 1. There's number one, I'm still on number 1 because it's been a lot to really, I had to come to the realization of, you don't quite have this together like you should.
Right.
So once I recognized that and started unpacking and peeling those layers back, I was like, okay, I got to get this part in order to get to number 2, in order to get to number 3.
Right. For me, it was that number 1. I guess I'm still on that too. I had to hit the pause button, just pause everything. And so when it comes to my business, it's like, Bishop was saying, you are not thinking big enough. Dream and dream bigger. You're not dreaming big enough. And so for me, when I think about my business, I'm thinking, I've been fishing with a fishing pole. And with a fishing pole, you can only get one fish at a time.
That's it.
Bring the fishing pole out and throw the nets out.
Cast the net.
Not dreaming big enough.
So I got a question.
Okay.
How are you dealing with the fear of what success looks like for you?
Yeah. So the fear is, I'm just jumping, because here's the thing: if I allow the fear to stop me, I won't get to the other side.
Yeah.
I want more. I want that 1%, but I don't want it just for me. I want it for my family. I want it for my children and my children's children. So if I stop, then no one will see anything. So the fear is not bringing everything to full fruition. That's the fear. So I throw the fear out the freaking window.
That's good.
I just jump and I just do.
Just took it with me. I just said, look, we're going to be fearing and keep going. I was like, fear, just come on.
That's it.
Come on, you're just going to have to come on with me. And then sooner or later, when you see that I keep on going forward, then hopefully you'll fall off. Some girlfriends of mine, they asked at the beginning of the year, what's your word for the year of 2022? And out of my mouth came yes.
Right.
And for me, someone that has been very accustomed to saying no to a lot of things because of fear, for me, it's saying yes. The conference was a yes for me, because I know of a time I would have, caring for my father and some other things, I would have been like, no, I can't do that. No, I've got these other things. No, I'm not gonna. But Wendolyn that's been my word for 2022. Yes. Yes to the experiences that are coming before me. Yes to whatever God is bringing into my path. Right. After I put it before Him and I get His approval to yes, pursue this, then it's a yes. It's a yes. And that, for me, how I am taking the fear with me. I'm not saying that I don't have fear in some areas. I'm not gonna lie. That's real, but it's no longer making me stop. I'm not frozen by it. All right. I'm not frozen by it.
Yeah. How did you feel when I asked you to be a guest on the podcast?
Immediate thoughts of, who are you? She don't have a clue. She just think because I'm dressed up in this suit and that I'm really nice that I got some. No, I'm serious. All of this
really
is the talk. No, all of the talk. I'm serious. All of the talk. The talk still, even though I just told you about the degree itself. Yeah. All of that. I call it the self-sabotage. Because here's the thing that I'm recognizing, that it's not really humility. Oh, you're so kind. No, I can't. No, it's really fear. That God is bringing me into situations that He has ordained. Right. But because of fear, it has become such a loud voice. I'm on the verge of self-sabotaging. So before I could allow that talk to lock in, I had to go in and say yes to you. I literally had to hurry up and say yes to you before the self-sabotaging talk. And it's like, but she just got through saying all of that great, wonderful stuff, because it's a real journey. It's a real journey. And where I believe for myself is the journey becomes challenges because I'm continuing in the back of my mind, comparing myself, sizing myself up to other individuals. When I told a good friend of mine, I said, I just turned 45. I am becoming Wendolyn.
Right. Wow.
And that's a different phase of my life. I'm becoming Wendolyn. And sometimes my answer doesn't always resonate with people. I heard this on one of those sessions that we had the counseling session. No is a whole sentence. I was like, what you say? No is a whole sentence.
With Dr. Phillips, Anita Phillips.
And the counseling session too.
Yeah.
When they said no is a whole sentence, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so when you said that, I had to fight that and hurry up and say yes.
Yeah.
Because that's me taking the fear with me. That because in previous times I would have said, I'll follow it with you. I'll let you know. I would have even said this. Let me pray on it.
Yeah.
Now, let me say this.
Okay.
I pray over everything I do beforehand because I want to be led of God. Mm-hmm. But I will say that sometimes I was using that sentence as an escape because I didn't want to do it. Tell the truth, Wendolyn. Yes.
It's true.
Trying to put God in it. It wasn't that spiritual. The Lord already said you need to do this. I was like, let me pray on it. And then you would hear from me from weeks later.
Wow.
I'm better.
Awesome. That is so, this is so good. And when you go back and look at this, the final edit of everything, then we'll talk, because I don't know. But I knew from the first moment we had lunch together. Right. So we were texting and trying to, hook up, and we did get a picture together. I hate that.
I thought about that too. I was like, now Wendolyn, you done better. And I'm us. Now here's my rule. Selfie is one person.
Right.
But it's more than one person. It's a ussie. It's not a single ussie.
I love that. But I loved you from the first moment I sat down at that table to actually have a conversation with you. I was like, am I talking to myself? Because I was like, I felt connected to you instantly. So yeah. Well, I'm glad that you brought the fear with you.
I am.
Said yes.
I am. Because I realized I used to, and this goes back from going through careers, right? I've been told that I have energy, that people would tell me, I love your energy. And just understanding that not everyone is ready to receive what you bring.
Right.
And have to be very careful of being able to shake off what's really not true. So what I mean by that is, in a previous work world, I was just this person that I'd get in front of people and I'd do the presentation. And yes, I'd bounce a little bit, but that was just me. And so I got feedback that it was perceived that I wasn't professional because I was smiling when I brought the information, and I might throw a joke in there.
Right.
And I remember taking that and it began to just settle in me to the point where I began to compress
who you were,
who I was. But it took time. It took my mentors, it took my spiritual surrounding, it took my circle of friends, my dear best friend, to help me understand that who God made me to be is actually a gift to the world.
Right.
And if that person is not comfortable with your gift, that doesn't mean that I'm still supposed to withhold it. Right. Now there's things that I can be fine-tuned and I can have the rough edges smoothed out. Right. But what God helped me to understand is that look at how it's blessing the people.
Right.
So we would have information that needed to be delivered.
Right.
And some of it sometimes can be really hard, or just straight numbers and things like that.
Right.
But how he created me, I don't deliver it just reading off a slide. That's just not who I am. I'm going to engage And as I grew going through different things, I grew to really appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And so now it is, listen, you get who you get. This is Wendolyn, and I recognize when I'm too much for some.
Right.
And I can respect it.
Right.
But whoever I'm intended to connect with, like I said, Felecia, I saw you through the mask. I knew exactly who you were.
You really did.
I was like, hey, Felecia.
I was like, oh my God. And I was so excited to see you.
Through the journeys that I've watched you go through in the past few years, it's just been so refreshing to see you continue to move forward in how you express your love for your family, how you are unapologetic on the paths that you take, even when you have to pivot. I just love it. I love it. And so I don't know what all this is going to turn into, but what I do know, because God is an architect and he's a strategist, he brought us connected, and we still don't know how and where we connected, but whatever it was years ago, that was for a certain time. And then now that we're back together, it's for purpose. And in everything that I would leave people with is that seek purpose.
Yeah.
If you seek purpose, then it'll be the purpose that God has for you. And that's the only way you're going to have true happiness and peace.
Right.
I'm a person that I always want to know, do I have God's peace with it? Doesn't mean I'm not going to run into obstacles, but when I know I have his peace on something, in whatever move I make, whatever decision I make, even if things start getting rocky, because I have his peace, then that's his assurance that he's going to be with me through all of the challenges as well.
I am in my own counseling session right now. Am I in a counseling session? Because I'm just like, I need popcorn and a drink. This is so good.
I'm just sharing. I just want to share with you. And this is part of me. This is what's gotten me to this point.
The gift is the gift. It's like the price is the price. The gift is the gift. I'm just saying.
The price is the price. That's Charlene.
That's Charlene. That's it. Okay, so let's keep moving. I feel like, oh my God, this is so good. Yay. So you attended the conference, and I had people to ask me, is this something you did for your church, or is this something you did for work? No, this was something I did on my own. No one covered this cost. The cost was mine. This was something that I saw as a spiritual development for one, a personal development, as well as a professional development, right? So what is your mindset around personal development?
It's something you have to do. Mm-hmm. You can't wait for somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
And it's at the point now, personal development comes in, and I'm pausing for a second to make sure I frame my words right. Mm-hmm. Personal development is a situation where you don't have an excuse anymore, because you can receive personal development from YouTube.
Right.
You can receive personal development from Google.
Right.
You can receive personal development from LinkedIn Learning.
Right.
The internet eliminates any excuse of being developed.
That's true.
But you have to count yourself worthy for the investment. You have to count yourself worthy for the investment. To your point, no one I have to give credit where credit is due, though. Mm-hmm. I knew about Bishop Jakes through my pastors years ago.
Yeah.
And they started exposing me and other members. We would do development sessions to different other churches. Mm-hmm. And some people say, well, y'all were narrow-minded. It's just church. No, because these places that they took us, it was like marketplace and ministry.
Right.
Because the church is a business as well, people.
Right.
But a lot of the things I went to Ivy Hilliard's church development, went to Creflo Dollar's, went to Bishop Jake. I mean, I've gone to so many, and I've learned so much from it that I took into my career. I took things into my career, but it's a choice, and it's a decision that each individual has to make, because you can't complain forever, because pretty soon you're not going to have an audience. You're just going to have the audience of one, and that'll be you.
Because come on, complain forever
and not. I'll change that. Yeah, you can complain forever, but you're only going to have an audience of one, because all of us have those people that every time you see them, it drains you, because they always are complaining about something.
Yeah.
They're complaining about something, and it gets you to the point. It's like, so what are you going to do about it? What's your solution? What is your solution? They don't want to hire me. Where have you increased your skill set?
Right.
What have you done? I don't know much about those computers. What
have you taken a class?
But you got Facebook.
Right.
You got Instagram, you got Snapchat, but you can't type.
Right.
And so it's a choice. It's a decision that are you worthy to invest in yourself? Because before I can expect anybody else to make any kind of investment in me, I'm going to invest in myself. Now that may mean putting back some Starbucks.
Right.
Actually, now I'm mugging Coffee House on Elvis Presley, Black-owned Coffee House.
Oh, okay.
That's my spot. I be in a lot. Just shout out to Mugging House. I do, but it's the sacrifice because I know what I'm trying to get to.
Right.
And I work with young people through my church. It's affording me to do youth development, and then I also volunteer with STS. Shout out to STS Enterprise, Jeremy Calhoun, and Alton Cryer. But I can't pour out if I'm not putting in.
Right.
So that was what the summit was for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we talked about just being young and dumb, making crazy decisions. But we've also, we're here now talking about that personal and professional development piece. What two characteristics? One characteristic that has really propelled you. And then what is that characteristic that initially stopped you, that held you back? So either one, you can answer either one. The one that has propelled you, kept you going, and then that one that just, it's been the hindrance in your life.
Consistency has been propelled.
Okay.
What I mean by that is when people encounter me, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to make it happen.
Right.
And if I find that I'm not going to be able to do it, I don't just leave it out there. I come back and communicate with you.
Right.
It's like, hey, here's why I'm not going to be able to do it, but here's my other alternative or something like that. Mm-hmm. I'm really big on saying I don't have to be the one to cast the vision.
Yeah.
But I can help you manifest it. Mm-hmm. I know that I can help manifest the vision. Cynthia Daniels, a good friend of mine, is the one that helped me understand that I do have vision and I am a visionary. Because they used to say, no, I'm not the visionary. I just help manifest the vision. She's like, no, because you're coming up with all of this stuff. So I shout out to Cynthia. But
I love her.
I love her. But what I realized is that the consistency I've had in doing what I'm going to do, what I said I was going to do, show up where I said I was going to show up, be where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
That I truly believe has helped propel me to where I am now. Because my faith is my faith. Now, where it has hindered me, and quite honestly, I don't know if this is a characteristic, it is overcommitment. I didn't exercise the no. Because I felt like saying no is telling you I can't do it, or you won't come to me again, you'll think less of me. But actually, no was being very honest and respecting that person's time, their investment, to let them know I won't be able to do that.
Right.
And that's the part, it's that honesty of, at this time, I won't be able to do it. And so a friend of mine says that I have gave them a way to decline someone asking. So here's what I told them. I was like, they asked me to do something. I said, first of all, I want to thank you for thinking enough of me to even consider me to participate on that level in this particular function. I want you to know I'm very honored by you even thinking enough to ask me to participate. Now, after giving it some thought, I must tell you that at this time, it's not going to be feasible for me to participate on that level. Although I'm honored, it wouldn't do you justice for me to sign up for something that I'm really not equipped to be my best at. She was like, can you write that down? I said,
drop the mic and walk away. Just drop the mic and walk away. If you told me that, I would say, oh, okay. That was probably just, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. That is so awesome. Such an amazing response.
not me just coming up with something just to brush people off. I'm there just when you asked. I'm honored when I'm asked, but that's also that being very honest in the sense, I'm honored when you ask me, but it's me being honest enough to let you know I won't be able to do that. Because just because someone asks you to do something, you've got to be honest with yourself and not get hyped up. Oh, they asked me to do something. Oh, I did the neck action. I said I wasn't going to do the neck. Anyway, you can't get so geeked up at the fact that they ask you to do something when you don't have the capacity to do it.
Right. That's
not right, because you're not doing justice to that individual. You're not being respectful of who they are and what their goal and their purpose is. And so they're counting on you to show up in a way that you really aren't equipped to do it. Right. Or if you don't even have a true interest in doing it, don't string them along and then call it the last one. It's like, I got it. Something just came up. I'm not going to be able to make it. When you knew, you really had no intention.
Right.
No, let's just be honest. Let's just say, hey, I appreciate it. But the truth of the matter is I took some time to consider it. I'm not going to be able to do that.
Took some time to consider it. Oh.
And take the time. Even if it's 5 minutes, take time.
Take the time. I love it. Wendolyn, you are, just walk away. Just step away and then come back. You are so awesome. I'm loving this conversation.
God.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, God.
Yes.
So we have a couple more questions. And what advice would you give someone who is just entering the workforce? And I'm going to add to that.
Okay.
Someone who's already in the workforce, but they are feeling stuck.
Okay.
So just entering, and then someone who feels stuck.
So just entering workforce, never worked before.
No.
Okay. Become a sponge. That is what I would let the person know. You're coming into the workforce, you're brand new.
Yeah.
Whether it's fresh out of college, fresh out of high school, or you were a stay-at-home mom and you didn't have to work and now you're having to go to work. First and foremost, you need to be a sponge. Because what you're bringing to the table is a clean slate, a clean canvas for them to basically start drawing on.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that you're allowing people to mold you into something you're not, but what you bring to the table is a talent, but it hasn't even been really discovered yet of what you're going to bring to the table. So you need to sponge, you need to learn. Coming into businesses and companies now, those that learn the company and learn the business, they are the ones that are going to progress. So case in point, if your job, you come in as the cashier at Walmart, don't be satisfied being the cashier. When they start having problems with certain customers processing a particular thing, find out when you have to constantly call their supervisor with a certain key, what they pushing, why they pushing, what's the codes that's coming through. You become a sponge.
Love it.
And it may require some extra hours or something like that. I'm not saying be abused, but I'm saying strategically start thinking in your mind, where can I place myself to be exposed to the knowledge, to gain the information? Because if I want to be store manager, or if I want to soon own something, I've got to put myself in position, but it has to start at the beginning. I'm a sponge. I'm here to learn. And I'm not necessarily learning from the people that are always griping. Because sometimes people have had some bad experiences,
right.
But that really has nothing to do with you.
Right.
You come into the role and you need to learn people for yourself.
Right.
Don't, as soon as you start a job, people say, yeah, watch her, watch him. Hold on. I'm going to have my own experience with people. Right. I have my own relationship with my spiritual belief. So I believe my spiritual guidance is going to give me discernment. Right.
Right.
But don't let people start telling you, watch her, watch him, he not any good. And then you start having your thought process shifted and molded, and you haven't even experienced this stuff. The reason why that person telling you that manager mad and they always picking on them, because that person, they supposed to be at work at 9, and they get there 9:15 on like every day.
Every day.
But they ask for the job, say, yeah, I'm going to be at work every day. I'm going to be on time. You just got to know the whole story, because I'm a firm believer. There's 3 sides to every story. That's my side, that's the other person's side, and it's the truth. Because it's human nature to tell the story that shows us in the best light. it's human nature to tell ourselves in the best light. So that's why you need my side, your side, and the one that knew it all.
So much. Oh my God.
Huh?
Okay.
So those that are stuck, it's time for honesty with yourself. It's time for honesty with yourself. So I'll give you an example. It came a time in the job that I was in where I knew I had more to give. I had literally, honest with myself, went above and beyond in the work. The projects that came up, I'm all in. Did the work, and I got told in a performance review that it was a meets all performance review, and I'm saying, and the leader said, well, exceeds the expectation. It's really hard to label you exceeds when we haven't identified what exceeds is in the role. Oh. And in my mind, when I heard it, I was like, that sounds like I'm boo-boo the foo-foo. But I had to make a decision point. Yeah. Am I going to wait for them to identify and recognize when I'm exceeding in my role? I've gone past it, or am I going to make a decision to leave? Now, when I left for better. Right. I left to progress. I prayed over and things like that. And then after a while, I wound up coming back to a company because they recognized she better. Right. They made a way, right? But that person that's stuck, you have to really have an honest conversation with yourself. Yeah. Are you stuck in a role that you have mastered all there is to master in it? You are no longer challenged in it. Yeah. You literally do it without any true effort. Right. Then when you get to that point, then you have to have a conversation with yourself. But what is my next step? What do I want to do? And that's sometimes the hardest thing for people to come to the grips with is, so if I'm not satisfied with this, what do I want? Right. And there's a lot of things that battle us in just speaking on what we want. Right. It's this whole, well, I don't want to seem like I'm asking for too much. Like Bishop Jakes, he was imploring us. He was like, you're not dreaming big enough. Not dreaming big enough. Right. And the thing about it is that God has already created. He literally already knows what the end is going to be. We are the ones trying to play catch up. It's the process that we tend to stray away from, because everybody loves the jewel at the end, but nobody wants the process of the diamond. Right. I want the diamond. I just don't want that process. Right. And sometimes we fear the process without even taking the step out. And then we get fed into by the people that are stuck. Right. The wrong people. So it's the wrong people because they're stuck. And so we wind up sitting, waiting on them to make a move, or we allow them to put those words in us. Right. We're not truly digging into our own faith and our belief that what he's put in us. So we get stuck. So I would say that person that feels stuck, but they want to move forward, you got to really have an honest conversation with yourself. Right. Right. And also I would add to that, seek out people and mentors who are able to see things in you that you can't see in yourself. Absolutely. Believe them. And believe them. And now listen, they had a mentor session, right? Mentor and mentee session there. They did. Mm-hmm. And he hit on a lot of things in regards to that, and understand that your mentor is not a buddy. Right. They are someone that you're giving permission to challenge you, to push you, to stretch you. Right. But the thing about it is, it's not just any mentor. It's a mentor of where you're trying to go. Because they've already been where you're trying to go. And they're going to navigate you through the minefield. Right. You don't have to go in this alone, because sometimes the fear of I'm going to have to do it all on myself will make you stop. But you got to be careful. It's not pride. Because pride will make you not ask for the help. Right. Right. Myself. You did. Yep. You did. Is there an offering you did? There's times when he hit me, I'd be like, now see, we wasn't gonna do that with Felecia. But anyway, it's part of it. I mean, think about it. If you've been a person that's been on your own, having to handle things for the family. You've been the person they look to.
Right.
So you've gotten to a place where you don't really ask people for anything because you had to make it happen.
Right.
Well, what happens when it comes to a point in life that you can't make it happen? God ordained it to be that way, that you have to reach out to somebody.
Right.
That requires you to swallow the pride and say, hey, I've gone only this far. Now I need to reach out. And
Right.
he will, I'm a firm believer, he will direct you in the path of that mentor that you need.
Right.
Here's where, Lord, I've had this honest conversation with myself. This is
Right.
where I want to go. God, put me in the path. Now,
Right.
when he puts you in the path, then you have to be bold enough to step forward and say, hi, my name is Wendolyn Payne. I recognize that you're such. I'm really looking for someone that can help me understand how to get to the next spot. Can I have 30 minutes of your time? Can I have 15 minutes of your time? And if they agree to it, then you better be planning what you're going to ask them in the 15 minutes, because you only got 7 at the beginning.
Right.
You got 7.
Don't go in with a lot of fluff. Don't do it.
No,
Know what you're asking for. Be a sponge. That's right.
Be a sponge.
Right.
But
right.
that's what I would say on the 2.
So good. It's on fire. It's like the fire will not go out. Last question, Wendolyn. Last question. I hate that this is the last question, but I absolutely love your story. I love everything about you. I love it. So
I love you too, Felecia.
Oh my goodness. So when you talk about just simple life advice, what life advice would you give to others who are afraid to change their lives? And let me just say this. So I have a coach that started this whole thing in me of helping other people elevate their careers, right? And I would say to her, they should just want it. If they're not making enough money, they should just want to change their lives. What's wrong with these people? And she would say, Felecia, everybody doesn't have that mindset. Everybody doesn't think like you. And I was, what? They don't? She was like, no. I was like, what in the world? So what life advice would you give someone who is afraid to change their lives? Because I feel like you've changed your life. You've changed the trajectory of your life. You did that years ago in high school. Your mother helped you to do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I feel like I only know the tip of the iceberg. I don't even know underneath. I don't even know. I'm looking forward to getting to know, but I do not know underneath, the bottom, the middle section of the iceberg. What advice would you give?
I think the first part that I would say to the person is, you're worthy. You're worthy of it.
You're worthy.
You're worthy of great. You're worthy of great. What is great? You're worthy of great. You're worthy of great. That is. So like, well, no, I'm not so. None of that matters. He said in his word that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, right?
Yes.
Right? And then he says, I wish above all things, above everything else, for us to prosper. So if you look up the word prosper, there's nothing bad tied to that, right? There's nothing, I don't know the exact definition, but I'm just saying these are the things that I would tell a person that really is wanting to accept that they don't deserve it. That who are they to believe that they are, and I'm just going to say this, that they deserve better than government assistance.
Say it.
My mother, at one point in our lives, was living off of $1 a day. You understand me?
Right.
But along with her faith to this moment, it is definitely not the case. But she had to also get to a point to recognize she was worthy of great.
Worthy of great.
You're worthy of it. I don't care what the past history has been. I do not care, and I want to say this truly, I do not care what failure has happened, what painful things that have happened to us physically, mentally, emotionally, family-wise, not having the support, being betrayed on the job, being set up, being physically hurt, being blamed for things that you had nothing to do with, that set you back 4 or 5, 6 times to the point where you got so tired of getting up because you kept getting slapped down. The fact that you get up and you breathe and you have activities of your limbs, that means you are worthy of great.
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 Now comes your challenge, and your determination has to bubble up in you and say, I'm going after what's mine. And that's greatness. I know, and everybody has their own definition of greatness, right? My definition of greatness is not yours, Felecia, because he's ordained it for each and every one of us. Right. There is someone who's destined for greatness, that their greatness is creating a consistent spot for homeless people to come every day, that they get 1 meal a day. That's the greatness for them. And that's what their life's assignment is supposed to be. Another person, their assignment and their greatness is to, for years and years, they are that consistent executive assistant. And no matter what VP, executive vice president comes into the role, they are never left in a need of administrative skill set, because their person that they have in place, their greatness is that executive leader is always on top of their game because they have this administrative person. That's greatness. It really is. So understanding that you are worthy of it, and it's going to be the greatness that he has for you, be it Tina, Timothy, Lawrence. It's the greatness that he has for your path, because my path isn't yours. But first you have to know, I am worthy of great.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, if this interview does not change your life, if it does not start your journey of being more than you are, of wanting more in your life, then I don't know what else it's gonna take, because this has been beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wendolyn Payne, thank you.
Thank you
so much for bringing your energy, your willingness, your mindset, your experience, your story. Thank you for bringing it to this podcast.
You are so welcome. I am so honored. I'm just like, you right. This was all him, because I had no clue. I was like, okay, I'm going to try to answer these questions. But I thank you. I thank you for you being obedient. Yeah. And stepping out and moving forward with this, because I've already been blessed. You caused me to recall things. And I appreciate that, because keeping it in remembrance is such an important part of the journey. So I thank you, Felecia.
I agree. So listen, everyone, thank you so much for watching. You have just experienced episode 7. I don't know what it's going to be called yet. I don't know.
I know.
I don't know. I have to go back and listen. I don't know. But you have just experienced this Career Conversations with Felecia H. Eden with my very special guest, Wendolyn Payne. And I don't care what you do. I'm just encouraging you. We are encouraging you to get up.
Yes.
Do something to change your life. Get moving. Wendolyn, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, y'all.